Call this meeting to order. Vice President McVeigh, if you wouldn't mind reading the Open Public Meeting Act statement, please.
Thank you. This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting of October 1st, 2019 was included in notice sent to newspapers of record and posted in the bulletin board in the municipal building. Remain continuously posted as required notices under the statute. In addition, a copy of this notice has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk.
Thank you. If we could stand for the invocation and the flag salute, please.
We gather today intent on doing good work. We seek to represent fairly and well those who have given us this task. May our efforts be blessed with insight guided by understanding and wisdom. We seek to serve with respect for all. May our personal faiths give us the strength to act honestly and well in matters before us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great. Roll call.
Council President Phillipsburg.
Here.
Council Vice President McVeigh.
Here.
Councilwoman DeGarmo.
Here.
Councilman Lutz. Councilman Clark.
Councilman Lutz is on the phone. Councilman.
Oh.
He's
Here,
here.
yeah.
And Councilman Clark.
Here.
That'll get louder as the night goes on. Okay. First up is the approval of minutes for February 19th, 2019. We get a motion? We have a motion. Is there a second? Second. The discussion?
Sorry to interrupt. So we have two options here. Our officers are on emergency calls. They just got here, so everyone's supposed to be checked. We'd like to check everybody. They have to exit and come back in. So that's,
Folks, those are the rules, and because the police were on a call, we are going to have to go back out and come back in to be checked.
again, I apologize. We had several emergency calls.
You're doing your job. I really appreciate it.
Sergeant Benedict for explaining
All
this.
righty.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Hi.
Sergeant,
I already got checked. Ha ha ha. We were first. Oh,
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving forward, we are now going to move for the approval of the council minutes. February 19th, 2019. We did have a motion and a second. Was there discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeGarmo.
Sorry.
Yes.
Councilman Lutz. Council Vice President McVeigh.
Yes.
Council President Phillipsburg.
Yes. So can we correct Councilman Clark's vote to reflect an abstention? Thank you. Approval of council minutes for May 7th, 2019. Is there a motion? Second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Clark.
Abstain.
Councilwoman DeGarmo.
Yes.
Councilman Lutz. Yes. Council Vice President McVeigh.
Yes.
Council President Phillipsburg.
Yes. Okay, we now have a habitability hearing for 145 Mercer Street, which I believe is an adjoined property with 147 Mercer Street. What I would do is I want to notify the panel now. I have a conflict with 145 and 147 when the homes first became victim of the fire. I held a fundraiser for both families. I don't feel that I can be objective. I'm going to remove myself from the hearing. I would ask that Vice President McVeigh run the hearing, and in order to stay ethical and not be an influence on the panel, I'm going to remove myself from the room, and when it's over, I ask that somebody kind of get me.
This for both?
Yeah, 145 and 147, yes. So, floor is yours. And Councilman Lutz is in your turn.
Thank you, Councilman.
Yeah, right now we're doing.
Right. I can call it, in case it goes bad.
Yes, possibly.
Okay, thank you. If you do come to the podium, please state your name and your address. Restrict your comments. No, what, yeah, okay.
So we're in the hearing.
Right.
You're
No.
in the hearing.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm asking. Is that,
No, she doesn't live over yet.
right. I'm here for...
Not yet.
Nan?
Yes.
Okay, so we haven't done one of these in a long time. So the way it works for the public, so everyone knows, is the town brought the complaint against the particular properties that are listed, alleging that the properties are unfit or they are suspected to be unfit in accordance set forth with the standards in the code. The town's first witness is going to be Kevin Duddy, who is the town's construction code official and head of inspections. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring Kevin up, who's in the back. I'm going to swear Kevin in. Kevin is going to give his testimony, to be under oath, regarding the condition of the property. Kevin's going to give an opinion as to whether the property should be remediated, whether it meets the definition in his mind of an unfit building, and if it should be remediated, what steps should be taken and what time frame should be imposed. The council will then be able to ask questions of Mr. Duddy. Are you the property owner, ma'am?
My brother is.
Okay, so you're here to speak on behalf of your
Yes.
brother? Okay, so you'll be able to, I'll swear you in as well. You'll be able, not yet though. And you'll be able to give testimony regarding the property, you'll be able to answer questions of the council, you'll be able to respond to Mr. Duddy's comments if you choose to. You don't have to testify at all. And then when everyone is done speaking, this is not open to the public, this is only for the interested parties attached to the property. When all said is done, the council will deliberate and make a decision as to what steps, if any, it chooses to do going forward. Okay? So first we'll start with Kevin. And you can have a seat, man.
Thank you, Council.
Kevin,
You're welcome. Thank you for coming.
I was going to swear you in real quick. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I did.
Okay, state your name for the record, your position with the town.
Kevin Duddy, construction official.
Okay, and Kevin, did you have an opportunity to inspect the property at 145 Mercer Street?
Yes. Yes, I have.
Can you just give the council a brief history of the property, if there are any code violations, property maintenance, habitability issues?
There was a fire at the 145 Mercer Street back in 2015, I guess it was, going by the date of the violation notice, whereas it was deemed to be an unsafe structure as a result of the fire. And the owners were ordered to secure the building and remove any conditions that would affect the adjoining properties. And so the building has lingered in that damaged position, in that damaged state since 2015. And at this point, I consider the building to be a total, not cost effective to rebuild. I have photos here of 145 and 147. 145 is the worst, and it joins 147 that was also affected by the fire. 147 may be able to be rehab. 145, I don't have hold out any hope for. It should have been demolished years ago, and it's lingering, and it's affecting the property at 143 South Main Street, which is here at the Common Wall. So these are row homes. 143 was where the fire started. Those folks rehabbed their property and put it back into usable state. They live there. 145 is totally compromised by the elements and the fire, and 147 may be able to be salvaged. So it's a matter of surgically removing 145 from the other two properties.
As it relates to 145 in particular, what exactly exists that causes your opinion?
Well, the floors have collapsed in on themselves at this point. From the snow and the water coming out, there's photos here that I can give the council.
The interior floors have collapsed?
The interior floors have collapsed, the roof is, I suppose there's no roof on it, I can't see it, but that's what would cause the water and the snow to get down into 140, into the interior of 145. And there's photos here, and you can see where it's compromised.
Do you have photos you could distribute to the council?
I can just pass these around.
And what is mark, we'll mark those as a group, Vic? Vic? We'll mark those as a group. Okay, it's 145. Do you have copies, Kevin, that you could explain what the council knows going to have as you go through it?
I have some duplicates here.
So this picture that I'm holding up is 145, the building on the left?
145 is to the left, yes.
Okay. And I don't want to provide testimony, so if you wouldn't mind taking these back and just go through each picture and explain, as it relates to 145, what each picture depicts. Did you take these pictures?
Oh, I had Paul Smith take it.
Okay. Paul Smith
Paul
works
Smith is an inspector in the
in your department.
department. The first photo shows the two homes connected, 145 and 147. 145 is the taupe color home, and 147 is the green one. This is from, these photos are facing from Mercer Street. The other photo is kind of zeroing in on the backs of the homes. You can see the sustained damage of 145. 145 is to the left over here, where you see the roof is collapsed and the floors have collapsed. 147 is the yellow place to the right over here. These two photos kind of depict the severity of the damage and deterioration more so than the others, and maybe these here can exemplify it better. But I want to just zero in on these two here. This is the connecting wall between 145 and 147. 147 is the green one, and 145 is the one with the vacant back of the building. And this is 147 also, or 145, I'm sorry. So these show the severity of the damage more so than the rest.
Kevin, you testified that, in your opinion, the building should be demolished, and it wasn't cost effective to repair it, but if money was no option, could the building be repaired, or it had to be completely tear down?
Well, if money was no option, you could do anything. If money wasn't a factor, sure, you could rebuild it, but
What would you have to do?
you'd have to completely gut the interior, you'd have to correct all the framing, you'd have to rebuild the back wall. I have not been in the building since the fire in 2015, so I think it's probably dangerous to go in there with the collapsed floors at this point.
Have you witnessed anything that would change your opinion from 2015 when you were inside it? The building and the inside has
Back in
been improved?
2015, I met with this woman here, and we went over clearing out the building of its contents and gutting it, and I could see back in 2015, they didn't have the wherewithal nor the they didn't have the money to put it back in shape.
Since 2015, have any building permits been applied for?
No,
Has the condition of the property changed, improved?
no, it's deteriorated.
It's worse than it was in 2015?
It's worse than it was in 2015. The back of the building didn't have gaping holes in it at the time of the fire.
Sir? Inspector Good.
I had just a few questions this evening. This is, the letter dated that we were going to have this habitability hearing, which I believe is part of the packet, the attachment. There's that be a September date, I'm not quite sure what the date, when that letter is dated this year.
Yes, the habitability.
Yeah, can you read me that date, please? part of the packet. The exhibit you turned over.
I got too many exhibits in here. It would have been the letter that I received from Rich is what we're looking for?
Yes, sir.
September 4th, 2019.
Okay, very good.
I'm only asking because it's pretty clear by the pictures. Pictures tell 1,000 words, in addition to what you said. You said you haven't stepped inside this building since 2015. And I was witness to the property down Union Square, to you gave testimony in 2017, where I was a member of the audience, and that was also the same reason you haven't been back to property. I'm only asking you just a straight question. If you're going to come before council and be the podium and face questions, wouldn't you at least step foot in that property to take, even though it's pretty clear, by this, it's hard for me to understand that you haven't been there in 4 years
Well, the picture.
in your role.
Yeah, the picture tells about.
It does,
Yeah.
but
I put my own health at risk going in that.
understood. But, I mean, just a general stop by, check the box, I've been here, I'm not going in type of thing. You said you just haven't been there in 4 years.
He has been there. Kevin, you
That's-
go.
I'm trying to establish
I've
that,
been
yes.
walking around the property.
That's what I'm trying to establish.
Oh, I see, right. Yeah,
Yes.
Exactly. Oh, I posted the property.
Okay, good. And that, since 2015.
On September
Yes.
12th, Kevin posted the property.
Right.
Right, and that's wrong, where's it? Okay. 140, the adjacent property, 147.
Council Vice President,
Yes.
we just conclude the 145 hearing and then we'll move on to the 147.
True.
Our separate hearings.
That's right, they are separate, my apologies, sir. And you did, I just want to clarify, you started your sentence by saying it's a total, but you didn't complete the sentence, and you said not cost effective to repair. So I'm just going, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but is it a total, or like the counselor said, that as far as money's not an object, you can fix it? I know it's a delicate balance, so that's true, money can fix anything, but don't put words in your mouth.
Yeah, if money's not an object, you can demolish yourself and rebuild, or you can just
Understood.
rebuild, whatever you want to do.
Just want clarification from my own processes and how I'm going to go with this. Thank you very much, that's all I have. Councilman Clark?
I'm good, thank you.
Councilwoman DeGirolamo?
Should the property come down, can it be safely torn down for 143 and 147? Being the row home, is it safe?
We've removed buildings that were attached to others over the years. One of them started off on Elizabeth Street years ago. I believe it was maybe 11 or 13 Elizabeth Street. Another one was the old Net Tavern on Sickgrave Street, where we removed that from the adjoining property to the left. Another one was on Sickgrave Street. We lost 2 of them on Sickgrave Street. One of them was attached to another property that may come up for the building's unfit hearing. But we've done it in the past. It's a matter of hand-picking the affected property away from the one that would be affected if you just went in there with a backhoe and started clawing away at it. It's surgically removing them. It's difficult. And then you have to protect the adjoining property. So the one that's lived in at 143, when you tear down 145, we have to complete that side of the building for them. Put side, sheathing and siding.
We
It's
do?
expensive. Yeah. You're required to protect the adjoining properties when you demolish a building. And so my interpretation of that is you have to protect their open side of the building. 147, I had a discussion with one of the lien holders, and he's agreed if we demolish 145, he wants to attempt to rehab 147, and he would simply block up the open side of his building.
So I know, I'm assuming most of the homes on Mercer are similar, that are row home in fashion. I know I have family on the 60 block, and I know you can see one another right through the attics. You can see each other's attics straight through. I do have a concern about 147 and 143, that they can be safe this building should come down. It's,
If you
you
wanna-
mentioned 143. It's a detriment to 143,
Yes.
the condition of the house.
It's probably so wet, soggy, and unsanitary, 145 is affecting the quality of life in 143.
Has 143 filed complaints?
Nope, they never complained. Their home was the cause of the fire, but they had completely gutted their home and they put back into habitable condition.
So the fire was actually at 143.
143, Sprint 145, Sprint 147.
So, Kevin, at this point, if you have anything further to offer the way of testimony, so 145 will allow a representative from Mr. Lee, unless Councilman wants to say anything.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Lutz, do you have anything?
The only thing I have is when that's demolition, the new people that comes in with the demolition crew, that they will take care of both sides of 145 and 147. And I hope that's on the bidding block too.
If I'm able to get into 147, that does not appear to be unsafe to go into. I can evaluate the left side party walls to see if it's, how much reconstruction there is.
Councilman, anything else? He did affirm that.
Yeah, well, the has to come down. It's been a long time. I live on Mercer Street, and it's a big eyesore, and it's about time that we do something with these burnout houses. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Duddy, thank you very much.
Yeah, just sit tight there. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Can you state your full name and address for the record?
My name's Joyce Messeresi. I live at 164 Mercer Street. The house we're talking about is 145, my homestead, which belongs to my brother now that my father passed.
Could you spell your last name for the record, please?
P-E-S-A-R-E-S-I.
Okay, Ms. Tesseresi, you heard testimony from Kevin Duddy regarding the condition of the property. You heard the questions the council asked of Mr. Duddy and the opinions that were given. Do you have anything to add?
For one, all joking aside, if he takes down 145, he will have to take down 147 for the simple fact that the beam supports both roofs and also supports both walls going all the way down. I was in there, I got it placed, I know.
Other than that, do you have anything to add? Other than that statement, do you have anything to add regarding the condition of the property, or do
Yes.
you dispute the testimony that was given?
Yes, almost 40 years ago, the mayor promised me that he would do everything in his power to help me rebuild the house. He got in touch with me a couple times. He said he was going to have somebody come in for humanity, and nothing. I even told him I had the key to the house. They can come in, they can check the house, the whole 9 yards, and never. Just kept saying, yeah. And then at the end, he says, I'll get to it when I get to it.
Okay, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because we're not here to, whether someone promised to do something or tried to get you help and couldn't
Right,
get you
I
help ultimately
understand.
is not relevant to the question as to the testimony given regarding the condition of 145 in Mercer. So you heard the testimony.
I haven't been in there in about a year now.
Do you have any reason to dispute the testimony that was given?
I did, got the place. The walls are all joining, so you know, the main beams, everything straight down from supporting the roof to the chimney between the two houses is also supported by both homes.
Okay, you haven't been there in a year. Have you been by the property recently?
Pardon?
Have you been by the property recently, even though you haven't been inside?
I go by it almost every day.
Okay, I'm going to show you some pictures that Mr. Duddy provided to the council, which he says depict 145 Mercer?
Yeah, I've been into that.
Okay. Do you believe those pictures to be an accurate depiction of the condition of the property at 145?
They are
Mercer?
now, yes. Yes, they are.
Specify, who, you mentioned your brother, who's caretaking the property now, albeit there has to be maintenance of snow shoveling and grass or just general?
My father passed away, and his will and also the deed to the house is in the safe. We can't find the combination to the safe, but according to the will, when my father passes, the house is supposed to go to my brother Bobby. From him, when he passes, it goes to his son Nolan.
I'm trying to establish if your family or anyone in your family is keeping an eye on the property, or at least progressively moving this, either or keeping it steady or moving it a little bit forward to try to preserve it. As you sit here today fighting for your property, I need to establish if someone on your side or yourself or whomever is fighting for this property to keep forward. I know there's a lot of pitfalls I just explained, but the reality is we have to listen to the, and I set eyes on this and wonder what we're doing to stay forward with this.
Well, I've been trying to dig up money in order to redo the house. I took money out of my retirement fund, which drained it. Cost me $3,000 to gut the house. We took everything out that we could take out. There's stuff in the basement yet that needs to come out that we can't get out because it's equipment that belonged to my dad. I go in there periodically. I try to go in there at least once a month to check the place out to see if it's any worse than what it was before. You can walk in the house. You can walk through the house. Yes, there's a little weakness. Third floor is the worst. The living room and my father's room, we found out when I gutted it that it had a firewall. The rest of it was no firewall. When the fire started, it started in the kitchen. And went through the house. We lost just about everything. Everything. Photos could never be replaced. Our ancestors all burned in the fire. My brother's clothes, my father's clothes, furniture, you name it, it all burned. All because somebody wanted to go trick-or-treating with the stove going in, candles burning. That was more important to them than worrying about a house that can catch fire. If it wasn't for the neighbor across the street, my father and my brother would have died in the fire. I had to wait and watch the house burn because my father's on oxygen. And they had to take him from the second floor and bring him down, take him out of the house. I mentioned to the firemen that he had oxygen tanks. They wouldn't even go back in the house to get the oxygen tanks. And they were full. One was in the kitchen, and 5 small ones were in the living room behind the recliner. I don't know what else to tell you.
No, and I certainly don't mean to dredge up emotions and upsetting conversations, but it is something the town needs to address because of the condition of the property. And the council is just trying to get a clearer understanding of whether there's any hope for rehabilitation of the property in a timely and realistic manner. And the testimony you provided earlier, I may have misunderstood you. I thought you testified that you had not been inside the property in over
I haven't been in a year, but around the property, I'm there almost every day.
Okay.
Around the property.
Okay.
Keeping an eye on it. In fact, the ones that started the fire are ones that are throwing stuff into my brother's backyard.
Okay, and prior to a year ago, that was your testimony regarding when you went in about once a month? I thought you testified that you went into the property about once a month?
Right, but I mean, I go down that way when I have to go somewhere. I go down through that way and I check it out. What I mean by once a month is when I check the whole thing.
On to, not into?
Right.
You go onto the property? Okay. I just wanted clarification. for that.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not your fault. That's why I ask questions.
Thank you. Councilman Clark, do you have any comment, questions?
I just want to start off by saying thank you for your testimony. It's very important tonight.
I'm having a hard time hearing.
Sorry. I just want to start off by saying thank you for your testimony tonight. It truly was important, and thank you for sharing that with us. I would be interested in hearing more about the
I can't hear him.
Sorry,
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I would like to hear more about the support beam that you said may be an issue. If one had to come down, then both would. Is there
The supporting beam?
Yeah, supporting beam. Is there any way we can get clarification on that, whether it would be an issue if one had to come down, then the other would?
The only thing that would bother you down there is you'll still smell the smoke from down there. But what I'm telling you is the God's honest truth. It's supported with one beam. It's holding both roofs and holding the other house together too. There's one chimney that supports both homes.
Thank you very much. That was my only question.
Thank you. Councilwoman DeGirolamo.
The only additional question would be, is there any future that you see where you'll be able to make the repairs necessary to make this house
If I had the money,
able to have a CO? Do you see in the next 12 months that you would be able to do anything with the house to make it habitable and not a hazard to your neighbors, to their neighbors?
I have no funds to redo the house whatsoever. When my father passed, he didn't have an insurance policy. In fact, it was so hard for him that he had to drop the insurance on the house 3 years before the fire because he couldn't afford it anymore. He never said anything to me. If he would have, I would have tried to help him as far as keeping the insurance up.
Was there any reason the 143, is there any reason 143 did not pay for the repairs as a result of the fire?
She kept screaming to everybody that she didn't have the money, that there was no money. And I tried going to lawyers, and the lawyer said, yes, I would win the case, but it would only be a piece of paper. Because the person that owns the house rented to, I think it's family, I'm not even sure. And they're the ones that started the fire.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Woods. Any questions, comments? Councilman Woods still with us?
No, no further questions on this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ms. Pastor.
Kevin, do you have anything else that you want to add in response or after hearing Ms. Sorelli speak?
Well, common elements
Mr.
of
Leslie.
buildings can always be dealt with. You know, we deal with common chimneys, common sewer lines, common water services, common party walls, and, you know, you surgically remove one side from the other, and if there's something that needs to be supported, you support it. It's just construction.
In your opinion, do you believe the existence of a supporting beam, of a common beam, would prevent solely the raising of 145 Mercer?
No, if you have to support it before you raise it, then you support it. When it came time to separate the old Coronet bar from the adjoining home, there was a portion of that building we didn't know what we were going to find. And so the contractor, demolition contractor, he had to go into it gingerly and start picking it apart by hand, and then we were able to see what we were dealing with.
Thank you, sir.
Are we going to handle others on 47?
Yes.
So we're
In a minute, we're gonna close this one out.
Yes, we're going to close this, we're going to deal with this separately. All right, thank you all for testifying. I'm going to go into discussion now with council members. And we'll start with Councilman Clark. Do you have anything further to add?
I have nothing further to add. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman DeJong.
No, nothing further.
Councilman Lutz. Councilman Lutz?
Yes, I'm sorry.
That's okay,
I was
sir.
on mute.
Understood, sir.
I was on mute. I think we should take the advice of the code official and plus the fire chief, and they're recommended to be demolished.
Yes, where's this here? Chief Hay? Oh, God, sorry.
Thank you.
You want to hop up and weigh in? I apologize.
Thank you, Councilman Lutz.
I'm going to raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your full name and position with the town.
Richard